I'm going to apologize to the monastics right now because I may be planting a song in your head. But it's a song that came into my head a few days ago, and you know, that happens, of course, you know, and we also have a precept about not singing or and so forth, because these kinds of things distract our minds. But when there's a persistent lyric hanging around in my mind, it's often useful for me to investigate what is this tune, and am I trying to tell myself something? So this was a 1967 Petula Clark hit. It was not her biggest hit, but the lyric that was going on in my mind was this hook: the other man's grass is always greener. The sun shines brighter on the other side. The other man's grass is always greener. Some are lucky, some are not. I'm just thankful for what I've got. Catchy tune that went along with that. And I thought, the other man's grass is always greener. Now, what is that about for me? So first of all, I thought, well, is this really true? The other person's grass is always greener. And not too long ago, Venerable Jampa and I took a little walk down the hill where we have some new horses. There's about 9, 11, 12 now horses in this pasture. And sure enough, they have this huge, beautiful pasture. And they're all standing on the fence, trying to get to the taller grass right alongside the road. I guess that's where the saying comes from. The other grass is always greener in the other pasture or something. But then I got to thinking, well, you know, how many times in my day do I see this? When I'm sitting at the lunch table and maybe missed dessert or missed the fresh bread, and somebody comes by with bread on her plate. Now, I have a precept to keep my eyes fixed on my own bowl, but my mind goes, where'd she get that? How come I don't have any of that? It happens all the time. Or somebody is going to go off for some teaching that I'm not going to go to. It's the mind that says, well, how come I can't go on this teaching? Maybe you have a mind like that too, I don't know. The other person's grass is always greener. So I've just been thinking about what are the mental factors that come up, that, or the afflictions involved with this comparing mind. How come I don't get what that person got? It starts when you're little kids, I think. If you have brothers and sisters, they always get stuff you don't get. I mean, I was the oldest, so my brothers and sisters always got to do stuff way younger than I was allowed to do stuff. So that mind. So I thought, okay, this is a comparing mind that we talk about all the time as being so deadly to our Dharma practice. That person can do this, I can't do that. That person has the skill, I don't have the skill. I can't contribute in the same way. I'd like to be able to do that, but I can't. So pride is one of them. Pride is the place where we talk about the competitive mind that says, I'm competitive with my equals. I lord it over and feel superior to the people who are a little below me. Or, you know, I think I'm as good as the people who are actually far superior to me. But right behind that pride, right behind that comparing mind comes jealousy. The jealousy that says, I can't bear that they have what I don't have. I cannot bear that they are happy, and I, at this moment, am not. And that is just such a painful mind. I think we recognize jealousy when, for example, someone runs off with the love of our life. You know, that we can go, yeah, I'm really jealous of that person. But I think it is not so easy to see when somebody got the last piece of cornbread that I wanted. That happiness, I resent that happiness from that person is having. So the antidote we learn is to rejoice in others' happiness. And you know, if it's cornbread, that seems kind of simple. If it's something huge, if it's something really like, you know, I don't want that person to be happy with my partner. I don't want my partner to be happy with that person. Or, I don't know if a more monastic example comes to mind at the moment, but it's hard sometimes to put down our own wish for ourselves to be happier than anybody, and to turn the mind that says, oh, I rejoice in that person's happiness. But as Venerable Chögyam teaches us all the time, frequently. We say every day, may all sentient beings have happiness in its causes. And then we see somebody who's totally happy eating that piece of cornbread or eating that piece of cake, and what do we think? Nah, they shouldn't have it. I should. So that's the mind that, that we can really cultivate in very small increments. Venerable has some interesting suggestions. So we start by rejoicing, just as the lyric of the song says, by rejoicing in what we have. I'm just thankful for what I've got. And if we make it a practice to really count the things that we are enriched by in our lives, 1 minute of our morning practice, just also detailing, I'm so fortunate that I have this, I'm so fortunate that I have this, I'm so fortunate that I have this. Already we have a different kind of field in our mind. So that starts us recognizing what our own good qualities, our own opportunities, all the things that we have. And then the next step would be to maybe devote 1 more minute to recognizing how wonderful it is that the people around us have good qualities, good opportunities, something that makes them happy. It begins to change our mind away from our habit of wanting all that happiness ourselves and wanting to share it with others. So Venerable says, this is great. While this initially may seem uncomfortable due to the force of jealousy, if we persist in recounting the goodness and happiness of others, our mind will become joyful too, which is a great benefit. Besides which, we start to develop the habit of recognizing that other people's happiness is also important to us. We can really rejoice in that. Thinking these kinds of positive thoughts automatically makes our minds happier. And then, the more we rejoice, this is a side benefit, the more we increase our own good karma. Especially if we're rejoicing in other people's virtue. Then our own appreciation for their virtuous actions or our own appreciation really plants the seeds that results in our own happiness in the future as well. So we can't lose. Rejoicing is a practice that we cannot lose from. And it's really just a switch of the mind. We don't have to go to a mountain. We don't have to stop eating anything. We don't have to give up anything except our crabby mind that looks at somebody else's plate and says, how come I don't have that? Looks at somebody else's garage and say, how come I don't have that car? Looks at somebody else's bedroom and says, how come she has curtains and none of the rest of us do? That mind that we can put down and brings us so much misery. So Pet Clark didn't write the song, but who knows whatever happened to her. I hope she's having a happy life somewhere. But that little lyric has been a useful kind of instructive meditation. So if you know the song, let it get stuck in your head a little bit, but mostly listen to the message that I'm so grateful for what I've got. Changes that mind that's constantly looking for happiness, looking for something new somewhere, and cultivating a jealousy with those who have it. So I think we can end that one.